All right, looks like we're live and I guess we're here, which is good. This is Lance Luke and Martin Pia, part of Ask the Building Expert Masterclass webinar series. And welcome. We have a specific topic today uh, for Hawaii homeowners, but the same information is applicable to anybody in the US or even around the world. Um, the general information, we're going to give specifics on different events that happen over the years. And even if you're not from Hawaii, I think will be interesting. So, um, specific topic today is a cautionary tale for Hawaii homeowners. Beware of future natural disasters. So, I'm going to go through a bunch of series of slides that we normally present. This webinar is presented by Construction Management Inspection, which is a Hawaii-based construction management company. And it's part of the Ask the Building Expert. And we have a national building expert um, name that we use, for lack of a better term. Um, Also, in March next month, there's a building expo, and we invite you to attend. It's not open to the public, it's open to people who are in the construction, real estate, property management, condo industry. So it's available to the industry members. So it's not like a Made in Hawaii festival where anybody can go. So this is limited, but um, all you got to do is when you register, put down some where you work or some connection. If you're a condo board member, property manager, even if you're not really in the industry, but you're a property owner, you can put property owner and they'll let you in. If you have a hard time, let us know and we'll help you. So we're going to be talking about some natural disasters. And um, just yesterday, we had heavy winds on the island of Oahu. And I didn't know how bad it was, but I was at home about 6 a.m. and the power out went out. And I'm thinking, oh, what's going on? So I went out, looked at the neighborhood, and almost every single house didn't have power. And then the ones that did, you could tell they either had emergency generators or some backup battery system. Um, and then about 2 hours later, the power came back on, and then I left for work, and then about 11 o'clock, it went out again. I didn't know what was going on. Then later on, I found out that not only the area east of Oahu, Kahala, Kaimiki, but they had huge power outage on the windward side, Kailo and Kaneohe. And I did some research, and the Hawaiian Electric website, for hours, it listed as cause unknown. And then finally, late afternoon, there was a press release from the news, and Hawaiian Electric stated the power outages were due to high winds, and in some areas the winds were like 50 miles per hour, and that's pretty strong. And just this morning in the valley of Ainahaina, there's a helicopter going around and they're inspecting the utility poles. So the winds are stronger than I thought. But the idea is to beware of natural disasters, future natural disasters. And well, what is a natural disaster? Well, you guys probably know already, but Hawaii is paradise. That's where we live. But one where nature's power can change lives basically overnight, from towering tsunami waves to hurricane force winds. The islands carry unique risks that every homeowner must take seriously. Failing to prepare is not only a personal gamble, it puts families, property, and entire communities at risk. And Martin and I have experienced several natural disasters in our lives, and um, we're here to tell you about it. The question is why disaster preparedness matters in Hawaii or matters anywhere in the world. Well, in Hawaii specifically, unlike the mainland, we're isolated. We're out in the Pacific Ocean. And what that means is that outside help cannot arrive quickly. It's not like we can bring in emergency vehicles from another state, things like that. So when our um, ocean ports are closed and airports shut down, we're basically left to rely on what resources we have on our own. Supplies take time to reach the islands. Local resources are quickly stretched thin. And that's why preparedness is not optional. It's basically essential. So we're going to go into a little deep dive into some natural disasters. And when I say deep dive, I'm talking about um, the ocean. Tsunamis. What is a tsunami? It's like a huge wave. It's a tidal wave. So let's go back in time. The ocean has shaped Hawaii's history with both beauty and tragedy. Now, before we were born, we weren't here when this happened, so we have to go back and do some research. There was a 1946 Aleutian tsunami, right? And started around where Alaska is, the state of Alaska, and it hit Hilo, which is on another island, the biggest island in the Hawaii chain. And this happened in 1946. And nobody really was prepared. There were stories of people going down to the ocean because the water was receding, and they're going, oh, this is interesting. Wow, I see a lot of fish. Let's, go down and collect the fish. And they didn't realize that that was part of this whole tsunami action. So the water recedes and then the big wave comes in. So unfortunately, 159 people had died. What happened is the Aleutian tsunami was triggered by an 8.6 earthquake in Alaska, and waves reportedly were up to 55 feet. And so that's what destroyed Hilo and killed all those people. The devastation led to the creation of the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center, which we really depend on today and over the years. So that was the first big one. And then we had in 1960 the Chilean tsunami, where 61 people got killed, $23 million in damage. So the $23 million estimate was based on 1960 estimation. So it's obviously, by today's standard, it's going to be a lot more than that. So this tsunami originated from the world's largest recorded earthquake, magnitude 9.5 on the Richter scale, and that's like huge. It reached Hawaii 15 hours later, killing 61 people and causing millions of dollars of damage. And I was still a young kid. Martin, you too. I was like 5 years old, so I didn't really have a clue what was going on at that time. I kind of wasn't even aware that it happened until I was doing the research on tsunamis in Hawaii. And then I said, geez, I kind of didn't know about this one. And then, flash forward or fast forward, 2011, the Japan tsunami, $33 million in damages, harbors hit, generated by a 9.0 earthquake off Japan. The waves damaged harbors in Kona and Kahului, Maui. Kona is on the island of Hawaii, the big island. $30 million at that time was huge. So these events prove that tsunamis can strike from literally thousands of miles away. When warnings are issued, quick action is the only safe response. There's nothing, I mean, you can prepare for a tsunami, but it's not like you can go out and start, bringing big rocks to protect your property. I mean, it's nothing like that. So this is one of the natural disasters that it's hard. You can't prevent it. You just got to be prepared for it coming. Okay, and there were like other tsunami alerts. More recently, we had one like several years ago, and everybody was prepared for the big. I think there were two. The last two, everybody was prepared, and it didn't cause that much damage. And on the news, you could see this little ripple, um, and that supposedly was the tsunami wave that, and it wasn't that prominent. So let's shift gears and talk about hurricanes, history of hurricanes in Hawaii. Um, I have firsthand knowledge, and as probably plenty other people do, if you were in Hawaii in 1982, Hurricane Eva. And at that time, winds were over 100 miles an hour, caused $312 million in damage. Main islands hit were Kauai, which had extensive damage, and the island of Oahu in isolated areas, mainly on the west side, um, leaving many without power for weeks. So I have a personal story about Hurricane Eva. I was living in Kaneohe in a townhouse, and they had these carports, and the winds were really strong. Imagine you're in the hurricane and the winds are howling so loud, even if you blasted your stereo on 10, you wouldn't be able to hear it because of the howling winds and the winds and the rain and the noise was kind of pretty much scary, and never heard anything like it. And this was going on for hours and hours, and then finally it stopped. And then when it stopped, you couldn't hear anything. There was no noise, and it was pitch black because the power went out. And imagine like experiencing all the noise from a hurricane. All of a sudden, the noise stops, and it's like pitch black. It's almost like you don't know where you are, and you can't hear anything because it's silent. There's no birds or nothing. Um, anyway, this tree that was outside my courtyard had blown over, and it blocked my garage, blocked the car. I couldn't go to work that day, um, because of the tree, and we didn't have power for at least a week. And I was one of the few neighbors that had a propane gas grill. So I hauled it from my backyard to the front of my garage, and we had several other neighbors that had grills. And because the power went out for so long, people had frozen food and stuff in their icebox. So whatever was available, whoever neighbor had stuff said, "Oh, can you cook this?" So we're cooking steaks, chicken, fish on the gas grill, and feeding the neighbors and all that. And this went on every single day for at least a week, I remember. So that was an experience. I still remember that. And um, I remember getting a call to help my cousin who lived down the street, and their entire roof of their house blew off, and it was in the middle of the road. Um, and their house was basically a disaster. It had to be rebuilt. And then in 1992, we had Hurricane Iniki, and that was the most destructive hurricane in Hawaii's modern history. The winds exceeding 140 miles per hour. It killed 6 people, destroyed more than 1,400 homes, damaged 5,000 more homes, caused $3 billion in losses. And I mean, it's pretty substantial. And I remember I was living in Kailua. I had moved from Kaneohe to Kailua. It's still on the windward side. And I remember howling winds and all that. And um, I had a pretty big yard, banana trees, and practically all my trees got either blown down or the limbs broken. That's how strong the winds were. Fortunately, my roof stayed on, and so it wasn't that bad. And then let's go to 2018, recent near misses. There was a Hurricane Lane in 2018. It didn't make landfall. It kind of stalled near the islands, but we were prepared for it. But it caused catastrophic flooding, even some wildfires, uh, caused by downed power lines, I guess. Estimates for damage reached $250 million. And there was Hurricane Douglas in 2020. Uh, this one too, it passed dangerously close to Oahu and Maui. We felt the rain and the winds, but it was not like a huge hurricane or anything. So um, heads up, with climate change increasing storm intensity, hurricanes pose an even greater risk today than in the past. So the idea behind the hurricane is it's coming. When is the next hurricane? It's not like no hurricane's gonna come. So the slogan is it's overdue. We're overdue for a major hurricane, so we best be prepared. So what's the hidden risk for homeowners? Okay, so if we have a natural disaster such as a hurricane, and we live in an older house, you have an aging home, be sure to check your roof and your foundation, because if you have a weak roof and a weak foundation, if you have a hurricane, huge winds blowing, your house may not be standing, after. Also, a hurricane brings a lot of rain, and you have storm water, so check your house for proper drainage system. So disasters often reveal weaknesses that go unnoticed in daily life. So we don't really know, we're not aware, but now it's best to be prepared. And this is part of emergency preparedness, to check your house. Aging homes are built with a lot of times outdated material. There's over time, or you could have a wood frame house, but you got wood rot or termite damage, and that's not good. Weak roofs, unsecured windows, vulnerable foundations, and poor drainage that turns heavy rains into damaged flood. So the drainage issue is you don't want water draining towards your house. So check your house. If you think that there's a slope and the water, when it rains heavily, water is going to drain towards your house foundation instead of away, then you got to take proper steps to do some kind of mediation, right? Mitigation to prevent that from happening, because that could be another cause of the problem. So these risks magnify the impact of natural disasters if left unaddressed. So the message today is to make sure you look around, and you can check your house yourself, or you can hire um, a contractor or building consultant or a home inspector and have them check, and let them know the reason why I'm calling you is because I want to make sure that my house is going to stand up in the next natural disaster, mainly a hurricane, right? The consequence of neglecting preparedness, financial loss, right? If you have damage to your house that could have been prevented, um, the construction could be damaged, could reveal safety hazards such as a broken gas line or maybe a live electrical wire, um, or if you have part of your roof blown off and now water is coming into your house, all those are considered safety hazards. And then community impact, if there's more than one house. So let's say the damage affected an entire neighborhood or a whole row of houses down one street. On the financial aspect, the repairs and rebuilding costs far more than preventive upgrades. Plus that, um, in the event of a disaster and there's damage, right? Do you have insurance that would cover it? Sometimes the insurance amount that you get is less than the cost to fix the problem. And then some houses don't have insurance. Okay, so that's going to be a bigger financial loss. Safety aspect. Families face injuries, unsafe conditions, or even worse, fatalities. The community issue impact, displacement, strains shelters, and disrupts neighborhoods. So if we have a big natural disaster event, there's only so many um, shelters to go to. And so if it was a major disaster that affected a lot of people, we do not have enough shelters to shelter everybody. Okay, so that's something to consider. Preparedness strengthens not only individual households but entire communities. The more people are prepared, the better the community is prepared, right? So let me see if I have another slide here. Okay, practical steps for homeowners, family emergency plan, inspect and maintain your property, strengthen structures, insurance coverage, make sure you renew your insurance, and then emergency supplies, make sure you have that in place. Now, little bit about the insurance coverage. If you recently remodeled your house, added on an addition, fix your house up in any way, make sure to let your insurance agent know, because then they can up your policy. I've seen situations where somebody added on a 250,000 addition to their house, and their insurance company didn't know. And when there was a disaster, that portion was not covered because it wasn't covered under their policy. Okay, so that's just some heads up. Steps every Hawaii homeowner should take now. Preparation doesn't have to be complicated. It just has to begin when? Today is a good time. Create a family emergency plan with evacuation routes and communication strategies. Inspect and maintain your home regularly, repairing small issues early on so they don't become big issues. Reinforce roofs, windows, and foundations for storm resistance. Update insurance policies to reflect true risk. Now, remember I said windows because when there's a hurricane, strong winds, windows can blow out too. And windows are part of your house, right? For protection. Also, on the emergency supplies, you want to stockpile emergency supplies for, say, have at least 2 weeks, including food, water, and medicine. Protecting your property, yourselves, and your future. Prevention costs a lot less than having to repair and maintain after damage. Work with professionals like a home inspector, licensed contractors, and then join community efforts. If you don't plan on joining, at least like try to do some research and obtain more knowledge and information. Protecting your family, property, and future. Preparedness is a big investment in survival and resilience. Prevention is always cheaper than recovery or fixing. Partner with professionals to assess your home safety. Take part in community preparedness programs. That's always good. And you get to network with neighbors and other like-minded people who have the same idea in mind. Remember, Hawaii's past disasters serve as powerful cautionary tales. We always remember what happened in the past, and that sets the stage for future preparedness. By learning from history and acting now, homeowners can protect not just their families and property, but also the strength and safety of the communities that we call home. Now, notice I didn't talk about earthquakes or wildfires, and they're also natural disasters. And earthquake prevention falls under kind of the same mitigation strategies as a hurricane. So strengthen your roof, your foundation, those kind of building components. And the wildfires, there's pros and cons about calling it a natural disaster or not. And we learned our lessons from that, from the California wildfires and from the Lahaina wildfires. So it's always, well, we learned from Lahaina that we weren't prepared at all. And so this emergency preparedness idea, it's like, all right, we know the concept, but, were we ready? And when you look at the check sheet of what's required to be prepared in emergency, we failed big time. And so we learned a big lesson from that. And hopefully, our emergency preparedness efforts with respect to the government is a lot stronger now because of what happened in the past. So basically, that's it in a nutshell. Let me go to here. So the conclusion is be prepared. Okay? Not only you say that you're prepared, oh, yeah, I read the pamphlet or I went online, I read the information. All right, so that's good. You read the information, you're familiar with it, but the other thing is take action, take steps. So although you read it, did you follow what's needed, what's really needed? Okay, so that's basically the big takeaway. We have every month we give 2 masterclass webinars, and I'm going to take a minute or so to go down the list here because I have it ready. So the next one is going to be topic. So here's the topics. Hawaii condo board members' duty to repair and maintain. Okay, that's kind of a big one. It's always been a big thing in my mind. So I just kind of get the word out. After that, short roofing nails void warranties. So we're talking about roofing and that, if there's a hurricane and you have short roofing nails on your asphalt shingle roof, there's a tendency of the high winds to blow your shingles off your roof. Okay, and then that's a big problem. After that, there's home safety tips, and then new construction warranty claims. That was a couple of people requested that because they're buying uh, either a new house, they're having a new house built, or they're buying brand new condos. They want to know about the warranty. Then I have another one after that. Top 10 claims against home inspectors. That's going to be interesting. And then we got Hawaii State Hospital repair costs. I'm working on that one. The dangers of working with hazardous building materials. Hawaiian islands sinking at a faster rate. A lot of people don't know that our islands are sinking. And it's not necessarily from all these high-rise buildings they're building in Kaka'ako. Okay, so there's other reasons why Hawaii is sinking. Okay, and it's not because people are overeating, so that's not really the cause, right? Although if you're overweight, I would recommend going on a diet. Then we have an interesting one. The title is Full of Hot Air. AC in Hawaii schools. That's always been kind of a top of mind subject with me. I've been involved in air conditioning in Hawaii schools for since the late 80s, I believe. I'll tell you some stories during my talk on that one of how I was involved and I had to work with all these governmental agencies, and it was not fun. And then continuing on, contractor payment applications, hidden problems in new homes, 2025 infrastructure of American Society of Civil Engineers report. So this society issues a report every year, and the latest one is for 2025. And we talk about infrastructure, which is roads, buildings, such as bridges and that kind of thing. Here's an interesting one. Poor condition of Hawaii's roads. You guys probably can give that one on your own. Your stories about potholes and how your car tire got damaged. After that is poor construction of Hawaii's bridges. Believe it or not, we have a lot of bridges in Hawaii, and a lot of them are old and they haven't been properly maintained. I just saw a study the other day, New York, that over 90% of their bridges are failing. And that's a scary thought. And then some more topics: senior safety, the hidden problems in older homes, Florida building collapse update. Remember years ago we had that Florida building collapse? I'm going to be giving you an update on hopefully more information on the causes of why the building collapsed as reported by the federal government. So if I don't have everything by the government at that time, then I'll just present, what information that I have available at that time. And then predictive building maintenance, advanced building materials. That's like new and improved building materials, like the latest and greatest in concrete mix and paint. windows, wood, and that kind of thing. It's amazing. There's some wood now that um, they can get it clear to look like a window, and you can see right through it. And um, concrete that actually heals itself. And then holiday safety, that's in December. So that's basically the whole schedule, what's coming up, what you miss. We have what's coming up. We have a lot of different classes that we gave, and we recorded each one, and we have it up on our uh, website, askbuildingexpert.now.site. And that website, it has all our previous masterclass webinars we've given. We even have expert websites. So within that main website, we have other websites you can go to for specific topics: fire, life safety, asphalt, contractor licensing, roofing, painting, waterproofing, Lahaina wildfire, and so forth. Then we have a national building expert blog you can go to. There's so much information, it's available. And then we have, like I mentioned, our webinar recording that you can go, and then we have books available. And there's a lot of things there that we spend our time and efforts providing you the information. We say knowledge is power. The more you know, the better, especially about these specific topics. So right now we're in the question and answer segment. You got questions, we got answers. My name is on the screen with my phone number and my email address. If you're not looking, name is Lance Luke. Email lanceluke@hawaiibuildingexpert.com. And phone number 808-754-3425. And we welcome your comments, questions. You got ideas on future topics for future classes, that's good. You got specific questions, we'll try to answer them for you. We're open. We just try to be available to help out. So I'm going to turn over to Martin now and see if any questions came up on our Zoom platform or any other social media platforms. Right now, we're restreaming live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So if we don't get to your question or comment that you posted on any of those specific platforms, we'll be sure to respond to you in a timely manner. So, Martin, we got any questions that may have come up?
Yes, Lance, we had a few questions that have come in to us that I can share with you. Are you ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, let me check these off on our media here. The first one is, given Hawaii's isolation, what should be the very first step homeowners take to prepare for a major natural disaster?
Maybe move to a safer area, um, but the preparation is the key. So you're not, let's say you're not moving anywhere. You're wherever you live, you prepare. If you live in a single family house, duplex, or high-rise condominium, make sure you know how prepared, like if it's a condo association, townhouses and so forth, how prepared is the association? How prepared are uh, owners that live in the building? Um, or if it's townhouses, live in, the townhouse buildings. Is everyone prepared? Do they know what to do? Right? You don't want to get caught off guard. If you live in a duplex or single family house, same thing. It's not like a community, but you should know, have your house checked. Is it safe? Is it going to last? Is it going to survive in a hurricane or major storm? Things like that. So like I mentioned before, have your roof checked, have your foundation checked. If you live in an older house and you don't have your hurricane ties, and hurricane ties, connect your roof to your house, and that prevents your roof from getting blown away in the event of a heavy um, hurricane or huge windstorm. Okay, so there's things that you could look for or you could check to be prepared. And there's a lot of information online about what to do and all that. So I know sometimes, you go online and it's like you're reading some advertisement or commercial about something, but um, that may be part of it. Like somebody's advertising they can install hurricane ties at your house, right? But most times they give you information on why you should do it or stuff before you start reading into the commercial aspect of it. But um, just take the information and let it be helpful and continue doing your research. But basically, even the state of Hawaii is saying there's programs that they uh, have created or information that what to do, how to check your house, what's needed, how to fix your house if you don't have the hurricane protection. So that information is available. Um, I think through the University of Hawaii, and there's also a DCCA, State of Hawaii Consumer Protection. You can probably find it there. Um, yeah, there's different sources that basically say the same thing. So, um, yeah, preparation is the key. So that's the step. Not only knowing what to do in case of an emergency, but making sure where you live is safe enough so you can basically shelter in place. Of course, the shelter in place doesn't work if um, your house is located in a tsunami zone and there's a tsunami alert. Um, that's not where the shelter in place comes in. The shelter in place comes in, um, there's a big hurricane and your house is protected, and you're gonna stay in your house and wait it out, so to speak. So hopefully that answered that question.
Yes, Lance, thank you. That's a good general information there. Let's see what's next here. Number two here, let's see. From past events like Hurricane Iniki and the 1946 tsunami, what lessons do you think homeowners still tend to overlook today?
I think it's the same thing I mentioned before. It's just being prepared.
Hmm.
And being prepared is not like when you hear the civil alert siren, now you decide what you're going to do, right? You should know what you're going to do before the siren goes off. So when it goes off, you already have a set plan of what you're going to do. And then secondly, um, preparing your house to withstand hurricanes, basically. So that's the steps. If you don't have um, hurricane protection at your house, then I would advise you to take the steps now to do some research and find out what's going on and what you need to do. Plan. Maybe the cost is too much, so you're gonna start saving money. So eventually, when you have that money, you can get the job done. Or maybe you know what the cost is, so you go out and get a loan to pay for that. Because the cost to mitigate and add hurricane protection to your house far outweighs if there's damages that need to be repaired, right? So if your whole roof blows off, that's way more costly than adding hurricane protection to your house, right? So that just gives you an idea of um, the money side of things.
Okay, Lance, thank you. I would just
There.
add one comment too, that a lot of the preparation is preparing your family. I think sometimes that's where things get really difficult when you're in the event and the you know your family members, whether they be seniors or your kids, are kind of aware of what to do in those kind of events. Yeah, disaster events. That's where a lot of people get lost. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because it's not only one person, it's your whole family. And you know how every year they have the fire prevention for kids and you draw your diagram of your house and then um, where you meet, where everybody's going to meet in case of fire
Right.
kind of thing. There should be something like that with any other disaster, like a hurricane and all that. People should know what to do. Like if you ask a kid, "Oh, what do you do in case of a fire?" They'll tell you because they learned that in school. But if you ask somebody, "Oh, what do you do in case of a hurricane?" They might not know the answer, right? So I think that's more an educational process, also similar to the fire prevention. There should be like a natural disaster prevention or hurricane prevention. In each category, there should be some kind of prevention, hurricane prevention, tsunami prevention. I mean, although um, it's just emergency preparedness, the prevention is kind of a misnomer because we can't prevent a tsunami, we can't prevent a hurricane, right? Like a fire, it could be prevented if we take certain safety steps, right? Like if a fire started because a candle had fallen down and lit some newspaper or something, well, that could have been prevented, right? So there's like different uh, categories, so to speak, of um, disasters.
Yeah, that's right. And the other thing I think is, having good communications, especially at the time of the event. People can be all over the place and being able to get a hold of them. I think with today's technology, you have the texting and all that kind of stuff, so you can kind of keep in touch, yeah, as the event or whatever's happening. So that's something I find is important too, is your communication network or however it works for you to be in touch, especially in the midst of the disaster. Yeah. So
Yeah,
okay.
well, you know what happened to me yesterday when we had a power outage? My telephone didn't work,
Yeah, that's right.
right? And I'm like, oh, okay, well, how am I supposed to call people or text people if I can't even I was trying to go use my phone to go online to check the Hawaiian Electric. They have their website down power and all that. I couldn't even get online.
Mm.
So I'm thinking, oh, well, that's a complaint with my provider. That never happened before, so we'll
Yeah.
see.
But somehow the things aren't working when you need them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Let me get on to the next question here is, what are the most common structural weaknesses you see when inspecting older homes in Hawaii?
Oh, I'm glad somebody asked that because older homes, the older your house, the more tendency there is to have termite damage and wood rot. The older homes are made out of wood, okay, um, for the most part. And the wood, just by nature and the environment, is susceptible to damages, structural damage caused by wood rot and termites. Okay, so let's say we have an older home and we didn't really check it and it has some termite damage and wood rot and things like that. If the wood rot and termite damage is in key component structural members such as your house foundation and your roof framing, okay, that maybe your house has been sitting there for 80 years, and nothing ever happened, right? Um, Now, what happens when you have a 50 or 90 mile per hour wind blowing, right down in your house or sideways, and you have termite eaten foundation and your roof framing? What happens, right? Your roof's going to blow off, your house maybe blow off the foundation or something. It may be not a very good site. Okay, so that's the downside. So although people say, well, I lived here for 80 years and I went through like four hurricanes already and nothing ever happened. Oh, okay, well, that's fine. But the question is, did the hurricane actually hit your house, or was it the effects of the hurricane, right? So I think if the hurricane actually hit the house probably wouldn't be there, or the roof would at least be gone, right? So this kind of a false sense of security where, well, my house is still here, and we've had like, you know, couple major hurricanes at least. Well, you can't count on that because your house wasn't in the direct line of the hurricane. Maybe it wasn't in the eye of the hurricane. It was miles away. You still got wind and rain, but it wasn't that bad, right? So don't think that because your house withstood the last major hurricanes that you're still good. Um, the other thing is if the older homes, it didn't come with uh, hurricane protection because building code didn't require that until way later, right? So um, please consider those things and then, weigh your options. Of course, if you live in a high-rise condo, it's all reinforced concrete. You don't really have, you know, things to worry about. Similarly, if you lived in a older single-family house.
Okay, Lance, thank you so much for that. Yeah.
Sure.
Next question we have here is kind of related to what you just talked about more. Which home improvements provide the best protection for the lowest cost? Roofing or windows, drainage or other things?
I would say roofing is the most important because normally in a hurricane, the roofs are the ones that are most affected. And then secondly is your house foundation. I mean, there were studies done in major hurricanes. Um, the roofs were the first to blow off. So if we're talking about tornadoes, it's like both your roof and your house foundation. But we don't have too many tornadoes in Hawaii. Most of them are water spouts that are in the ocean. I think we've had some events where it came on land, but it kind of dissipated. So I would say the roof is first and then your foundation is next. But um, that's just a general rule of thumb I'm talking about. It's best to, I don't know the condition of your particular house per se, so it's best to have some professional go and, check it out and see the drainage issue um, is a secondary cause. The hurricane is the wind, and then the rain would be next, the water. So naturally, if you have a drainage issue, you have a problem too. But um, most times, if you have a drainage issue, you got water ponding against your house foundation. It's not as bad as your roof blowing off or part of your roof blowing off, but that's still something to consider. That's important, so don't cross that off the list.
Okay, Lance, that sounds good. You just made me think of something. You mentioned about, inspections, which is, your expertise too. Is there a cycle or something that maybe we should consider doing inspections on our home to just kind of make sure everything is looking good? I know you've done so many different presentations on related topics, but and I know you helped me almost 50 years ago when I first got our place to do inspections, but honestly, I don't think I've really had a formal inspection since then. So is there a time or a frequency that we should look at kind of double checking everything of the house?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that. I would say like once every 5 years
Hmm.
is a good number. But if there's a event that happened, natural disaster, let's say there was a big hurricane, okay, I would say that's the time where you inspect your house to see if there's any damages, right? So if you have a hurricane, right, and then you decide, oh yeah, I was watching this webinar and the guy said inspect 5 years, so I'll just wait, 4 years from now. Um, that's not the 5 years, like, provided nothing happens, right? Once there's a disaster, not just like a hurricane, then you inspect your house right away. You check your roof and all that. That's why I think I gave a talk one time about roofing, and I said, because we have so many fireworks in Hawaii, although most of them are illegal, all those aerials, right? After New Year's, right? Go check your roof or have somebody check your roof. And then somebody called me and they said, "Oh, I'm glad you told me that because I found like two uh, Roman candles that half of it wasn't even burnt. There was still gunpowder and stuff." So, and he said, "Wow, it was scary. Man, if that thing was lit, my whole roof and my whole house could have been on fire." I said, "Yeah, that's one of the reasons to um, have a ban on aerial fireworks because of that." And of course, the other thing is uh, explosion. You have a storage of illegal fireworks in a garage, and then the whole thing explodes, and people get killed from that and seriously injured. That's not very good.
Very good. Well, thanks for kind of clarifying that for me. So I think I get one more question here. And it's with storms becoming more severe over time, how should Hawaii homeowners adjust the way they think about preparedness? Hmm.
Well, the idea about just talking about emergency preparedness, regardless of the severity of storms, and um, you know, you don't have to agree that there's a climate change issue. Storms are getting worse. Hurricanes are getting worse. Wildfires are getting worse. Um, it's just something that's happening. And you look at what's happening on the East Coast right now, it's like crazy. All these big storms, bomb cyclone, um, all this snow, and people can't go to work and go to school. We have family in Georgia, and they sent a picture of snow on the farm, and somebody had to go to walk through the snow to go feed the cows. And this is in Statesboro, Georgia. It's like, down in the south where it normally doesn't snow. So it's very interesting. So, um, sorry, I forgot what your question was. What was your question?
Oh, it was about the
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay. So, the idea is to just be prepared. Um, get the information, study up so you know what to do, and make sure you and your family know in the event something happens, you're prepared as much as you can be for the event, and the event is a natural disaster. So the question would be, um, if a hurricane came tomorrow, would you and your family know exactly what's needed to do for protection? That's the question, and you can ask yourself, well, what would you do if a hurricane came, right? Where would you be in different scenarios? Let's say you're at home and there was a hurricane. What are you going to do? Or you're at work and your family's at home. What are you going to do? Do you have enough time to go home? right? And or if you call your family, what will you do? Or you have to stay and work, right? Because of your job. You're a first responder, so you can't go home. So does your family know what to do? So, those kind of things. It should be top of mind so that you're prepared. That's the message. Just prepare for this kind of disaster, right? That's all. Any other comments and or questions before we sign
I
off?
think that's all the questions we have, Lance, but I think you brought up a good point. I mean, preparedness is important. And when we think of it, most of the things that are happening happen in cycles. The winter cycle has all this snow. It's just a matter of how extreme it is. We have hurricane cycles here from when June to November, so we know when it's potentially coming. So we've kind of got windows that we can prepare for, and it's just a matter of whether we do or not. Yeah. So we're always kind of being reminded every year, every season that you can have these hurricanes, you can have these snowstorms, and it's just a matter of how prepared are you for it, depending on the how extreme it is. Yeah.
Mhm. Good, good. All right. On behalf of Martin and myself, Ask the Building Expert, we thank you for tuning in, joining us. Even if you watch part of it, that's fine. You don't have to watch the whole broadcast, but we appreciate you tuning in, and hopefully we'll see you at the next masterclass webinar. Aloha, mahalo.